This is your first Encores. Tell me.
I'm so excited. It's a little bit less stressful than I thought it was going to be, but get back to me in like 3 days.
What have people told you what Encores was like?
Well, I have a friend who just did Little Me, and he was saying that it was a really rapid process, and he was like, if you can be as memorized as possible going into rehearsals, that would be a good idea. So I tried to do that for sure.
This is such a beautiful show. Did you know Irma La Douce before? Tell me about the role.
I didn't actually know it before. A couple of my friends over at Matilda were like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite show, and I had no idea, but I love it. It's such a great show. The role is lovely because she's a woman of the evening, but to me it's more about her love story with Nestor/Oscar, and she's just grounded and quirky and funny, but real at the same time, which is what I love. Those are the kinds of roles I like in theater, for sure.
And talk about this beautiful score.
Oh gosh, it's so beautiful. I get to sing two of my favorite songs in the show, Didon, which is so funny and silly, and there's a huge 6-minute dance number involved with it, and then her routine at the end, which is her big 11 o'clock number. They're both so beautiful. It's like old school theater music, but it's got a French flair to it, of course, because it's not an American show. So, yeah.
Here we are. First of all, welcome back to Encores. What has your whole Encores experience been like for you, Malcolm?
Well, everyone has been just heavenly. I started with The Boys from Syracuse, which was in 97, and then Apple Tree, which was about 7 years ago, and now Irma La Douce. And actually, I hadn't thought of this before, but the shows seem to get smaller and smaller and smaller. I mean, Apple Tree was relatively small, but actually, no, Apple Tree had a big dancing core in the second act. So they've gotten more and more intimate, which I like. And I think that in addition to Irma La Douce being a great show with a great director and great company, I think it'll be a real breath of fresh air for people because it is so intimate, and it'll have a much smaller, hopefully very personal feel.
What can you tell us about the role that you're going to be playing?
I'm playing Bob the bartender, which is how he's listed as. But really, the way I can best sum up Bob is to say that in the first 5 lines, I look at the audience and I say, once upon a time. And so that is Bob. Bob is, he is the bartender. He owns the bar in the Milieu, which is the section of Paris that the play is set in. But I just come right out. I look right into the faces of the lovely people who've come to Encores, and I say, we're going to tell you a story today, a magical story about 2 young lovers, and here we go. So it's really a pleasure to be playing the part.
So John, welcome to Encores. Tell me why you wanted to be a part of Irma La Douce.
Jack and I have been talking, Jack Viertel and I have been talking about what to find to do together again, because I so enjoyed being here doing Where's Charlie? And as you know, I've done a couple of other events for Encores, but not another Encore show. And we talked about, Irma La Douce came along. I've done the show once before, which is always helpful when you're directing an Encores. I did it in Britain with some of the original writers still alive at that time. Monty Norman is still alive, and I'm in communication with him. But Julian Moore, who wrote the script, was still alive at that time. So I did a revival in the UK with them. And that was really great and very helpful. And Jack said, well, maybe it's time to do a non-American musical. And I said, well, why don't we look at Irma La Douce? It's not a big show. It gives you an opportunity to do another big show in the season, which the company have just done. So this is, it's done with 13 people. And that's actually I think that's bigger than it was when it was first done in London, I think when it was first done on Broadway, it was about this size. But in London, and in Paris, when it was first done, it was done in a bar, like Joe's Pub, tiny, tiny thing. But I feel there's something so sweet and delicious about the comedy style?
This morning, tell me why you wanted to do Irma La Douce.
You know, for a whole bunch of different reasons. First of all, I was 11 years old when it got produced, and my parents thought it was far too racy for me to see, so I've never seen it. And I love doing shows that I've never seen, particularly ones that I've never forgiven my parents for not taking me to. You know, it was the hippest thing on Broadway in 1960. It doesn't seem all that hip now. It seems charmingly, sexy and salacious in a tasteful way. But back then, it was part of a movement that, was like the Second City and Mort Saul and the whole thing that was happening at the end of the Eisenhower era, when just hipper stuff was beginning to happen at the beginning of the Kennedy presidency. And I really just wanted to celebrate that little spirit because, within 8 or 9 years, the whole country had fallen apart. But there was this little moment when we were able to be clever and slightly off color and slightly rude and still be accepted, and everyone considered it fun. The music, because Marguerite Minow, was a partner of Edith Piaf's and wrote all those great Piaf songs. This score is not that well known to the average person, but when you hear the sound of it, the sound is really well known. And I just wanted to expose that. John Doyle was very eager to do it, and we really wanted to work with him again. Rob McClure is a favorite Encores person. And then it just became about finding our Irma, and Jen Bowles came in and auditioned, and just blew us away. So we thought, oh good, we can make a discovery on top of everything else. And that's the story.
And congratulations on your Tony nominations this morning. How do you feel?
I feel great. It's fun to get 7 Tony nominations. We got 7 Tony nominations for Smokey Joe's Cafe, and that worked out okay. So we're really, really happy about this.
So Hira, welcome back to Encores. How does it feel?
It's great. It's great. I always love being back here. Jack Viertel, what he's put together here is really astounding. And you never think it's going to get done. You never think it's going to get done. You've got this crazy fast process, but they hire the right people and they get it done. And it's a room full of laughter between Jenny Bowles and Chris Sullivan and Stephen DeRosa, and it's just a lot of very funny people, very smart people.
Did you know the show before? Talk about this show you're doing now.
I sort of almost knew the song "Language of Love." That's sort of the big hit from the show. As soon as they started plunking it out, I went, "Oh, I know that song." And then I knew the movie, the Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine movie, and getting to take a stab at anything Jack Lemmon ever did, I will gladly do. It's really such a little gem of a piece, and it's a smaller cast for Encores. It's kind of intimate, and Encores is known for their doing original orchestrations with a full orchestra. The original orchestration for this is just 10 pieces, but it's a really sort of French bistro, accordion, lavish sound. So I can't wait for the Sitz probe for that one.
Talk about the role. What can you tell us so far?
Yeah, Nestor. He's sort of he's an average Joe. He's a law student, and he sort of finds himself in the world of Parisian ladies of the night, and he falls madly in love with one of them, and sort of is dealing with how to compete and how to have his heart, how to keep it safe in that world of having to share her, and he comes up with the idea of what if there was just one crazy old rich customer? Then maybe she could just have one customer, and that would be easier. So he disguises himself as said older customer, and hilarity ensues, as it were.
What gets food and drink? Lots of loot. That's our fruit. Who makes the money stink? Who? Dead rich folk. When you're broke.
The opium of the poor is cash they'll never make.
Won't make.
But we obey the law.
What law?
What you want, you take.
The Grisby is the root of the evil in man. So gather in the fruit, grab as much as you can.
Perhaps you're right.
Gather